You might not like what I'm about to say, but I feel sorry for all of y'all that aren't watching Alien Earth because it's easily the best TV show out right now. And they just left us on another nasty little cliffhanger. Again? And now we gotta wait another week when I'm just sitting here itching to watch the next episode. But hella shenanigans happen, so much drama, so much suspense, so many twists and turns and crazy reveals. I'm not in space, so my neighbors could definitely hear me screaming. Even my pet xenomorph Giger was impressed with this episode. Go ahead, show him the grills. Everybody acknowledge her. But I am going to be talking full spoilers for episode 5 of Alien Earth, so if you ain't trying to be spoiled, make sure you drop a like and follow, but come back after because I do need to hear your thoughts. But either way, me and you know what we got to do. We got to talk about it. So since we picked up with a flashback in last week's episode, we're finally back on Neverland. As we see the octopus in the sheep being very observant of Wendy being observant of the xenomorph. Observeception? And I'm telling you, this right here is the real end game. Whatever the fuck happens with this octopus, he's just sitting back scheming, rubbing his hands like Birdman and flies. Why are they rubbing their hands like that? Stop touching people with your hands! But nah, seriously, the octopus can't even say a word. Last week it was beating the xenomorph's ass in a human body, but you could just see the gears turning in its brain. It's like putting shit together like me, trying to figure out a way to get the fuck up out of there. Meanwhile, we got Wendy over here being the xenomorph whisperer, trying to domesticate one. You ain't like me, Wendy. You gotta get right. Sir, a third observation is at the timeline. Because we also got Kirsch and Hermit / Joe. Why do they got so many names? Having a very, very interesting little conversation about Wendy's future. Like my brother in Christ, Hermit. Try to be more inconspicuous. Stop asking these dumbass questions that have everyone knowing that you plotting to get the fuck up out of there. But Kirsch is really in I don't give a fuck mode. Like he knows he about to be fired or shut down or turned obsolete due to the hybrids. He really just that one coworker you can vent to and they won't say shit because they don't give a fuck. And while all this is happening, Nibs is getting experimented on, and that bald-headed demon, the right-hand man to Boy Cavalier, suggests that they just erase her memory of all the traumatic events over the past couple of days. As we also learn, she's mentally unstable from other stuff that's happened in her childhood. Obviously, she was sick, but that immediately starts violating their moral ethics. As Arthur says, I'm not doing that shit, but Dame says she will. The way he turned to her like, bitch, you choosing the job over us? And Buddy Boy gets immediately fired. Because they're like, if she could do what you do, fuck we need you for. From one tough conversation to another, this episode really is just filled with a bunch of tough conversations. Joe starts planning the idea of getting off this island to Wendy, who herself says, Boy Cavalier says this is a place where you can only say yes and not no. He says no leads to nothing. But then Joe claps back saying no is your right to choose what to do with your own body. I really thought that was a very interesting discussion. Then of course Wendy says, what if I want to stay here? What the fuck do you mean you want to stay here on this motherfucker? As we get to some juicy litigation between Boy Cavalier and Utani. Gotta glaze again, the shot composition, the blocking, the lighting. Gotta love a nice reflection shot with a wide shot. Again, I've glazed to death the filmmaking perspective of this show, but it's just mwah, muy magnifique. I love it. And Boy Cavalier literally lets his fucking nuts hang on the table to Utani because he knows she can't do shit because he's the one, obviously, who set up the crash site of the Maginot? Who cares? But this agreement ends up being Utani sending $20 billion over to get her assets back, but Boy Cavalier gets 6 weeks of quarantine with the specimens. But of course, she doesn't like that, not one bit. She wanted the specimens back immediately, so she still has that side mission with Morrow up her sleeve. And I love this conversation between a synthetic and a cyborg and them being basically droidist to each other. Droidism in the Big 25 is insane work. But why the fuck did Morrow end this conversation by saying, I'll see you soon? Now, I mean, he don't give a fuck. I mean, they probably already know they're going to try to attack the island, but he just don't give a fuck. While all that was happening, Nibs gets her fucking memory wiped. They really say, can you look here for a second? Thank you. And that's when Wendy notices that she's not remembering shit from the past week, which, by the way, strike one, Prodigy, what the fuck are y'all doing? Why wouldn't you inform the children that they're going to wipe her memory for another reason in advance? Why would you wait for them to interact with her? They would... What's going on? Y'all the dumbest smart people in the world. However, it did give us this beautiful dissolve shot. They've been spamming the dissolves, but I'm here for it because I love it. Meanwhile, slightly funny enough is the mole for Morrow in Prodigy when Boy Cavalier had a mole in Utani on the Maginot. Karma's a bitch, right? But slightly is still fixated on Hermit being the human that he uses for the xenomorph to impregnate and he takes so they can have their specimen back. And again, I love the dissolve shots because while he's trying to have a normal conversation with him, he's thinking about the egg opening up while Morrow is in his ear. Not only can you feel the tension, you can see it. That indecisiveness is palpable. I could fucking smell it in the air. That's when Kirsch tasks Toodles to take care of all the creatures, feed them, and go through the normal routine by the book. But Kirsch wants Curly to go along with Toodles because he doesn't trust Toodles by himself. And that's when Toodles says, you know, Curly can't, so he can do it himself because he feels like a big boy. And that immediately fucks everything up. And dog, Toodles gets packed up because the octopus is a D1 instigator, potentially a D1 rage baiter. I can't wait. Because he knocks on the window, which is what closes Toodles into the cage that's holding those bug monsters. And that was all she wrote. Now you gotta wipe yourself off, man. You synthetic. His ass gets fucked up by those big ass beetle fly things as they spit acid in his synthetic body and he's dead. And while that happens, Joe actually has a good idea for once and goes to see Arthur because he knows he's someone that actually cares. And Arthur indeed does care, as the camera's on them when they're having this conversation, but he asks him if his sister is safe here. Arthur looks at the camera and he says, yeah, she is safe here. Come look, you want to see her vitals? Now that's thinking with your dipstick, because he types in, take her and get her out. The boat code is 102778. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. But while he's doing this, Arthur notices the vitals for Toodles are off the Ritz. No cracker. So Arthur goes to check on Toodles in the lab, but of course he runs into Slightly, who's still indecisive about what the fuck to do. And it's crazy that he gets this opportunity served up to him on a fucking platter, because now he realizes, oh shit, Arthur can be the fucking human I can use now. I don't need Herman. And of course Arthur sees Toodles' dead body on the floor, tries to drag him out. Slightly locks him in and he says, Slightly, let me out, come on dog. As Slightly pulls a fucking Hal from 2001: A Space Odyssey. I'm afraid I can't do that, Arthur. Your new name is Toodles now. Toodles? Fuck. Even the xenomorph, which by the way is fully grown now, lets out a smirk like, I'm about to have a friend, a wife, a girl maybe. Ooh, cause it's in my face. Arthur, man, why is it always the dudes that are trying to do right, be right, that get packed up? Slightly, dog, what are you doing? But I get it. If it was to keep my mom safe, I would probably have to do the same thing. Very tough decisions are being made, tough conversations. I love that this show puts that thought into your mind and you're like, what would I do in this situation? As we see that Kirsch has been watching this whole time, but he's just like the monkey. Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. Because when they're on their way back from the litigation, Boy Cavalier asks him if everything's all right. And he says, yeah, I know a motherfucker that hates his boss more than anything in the world when I see one. As Slightly pulls Arthur's body with a face hugger on it into a vent, those fucking flying acid breathing bugs are flying around the lab. So you already know shit about to get crazy, scary, spooky, maybe hilarious. As we end on a shot with the octopus just looking into the mirror like, who the fuck is my next victim? Ooh! Maybe it's the fact that I'm a big sci-fi head, but this is stuff that I just love to eat up. It's mixing all the best elements of Ridley Scott's original Alien motion picture with his newer stuff in Covenant, Prometheus. Ooh, I love it. I will say, I feel like the weakest aspect of the show is actually in the acting. There are a lot of performances where I'm like, ugh. Not my goat Morrow. I think he's easily the best character on television right now. You know, along with Wendy and Hermit, I think they're all doing great. And honestly, it's not even that crazy of a critique because everything else about this show is phenomenal, from the production, the filmmaking, beautiful stuff. The fucking metal needle drops. If we don't get an Enter Sandman Metallica needle drop, what are we doing? But let me know what you thought about that episode. My thoughts, theories, and opinions down in the comments below. And as always, like and follow for more.